Good evening, Bombay. Is it Bombay tonight or is it Mumbai? What would you... Mumbai.
On a recent Saturday night in Mumbai, a near-capacity crowd lined up to see a show at the Comedy Store. It is the first Western-style stand-up venue in the country. The shows mostly feature British, American, and Western comics. But on this particular night, Anubhav Paul, an Indian performer, delivered jokes about the difference between Bengalis and Punjabis, two ethnic groups from opposite sides of India.
I've seen Bengalis say, you know, I'm mad at you. You stole my girlfriend. I'm going to come over there and I'm going to write a poem.
The crowd loved it.
But you don't see that problem with Punjabi men. You know, you see Punjabi men strapping, you know, proud, and then, so I'm in all, exactly. Yeah, I'm in all of them. You know, you see them nightclubs. They're sort of, you know, hi, I'm Vicky.
It has long been thought that comedy would threaten the often fragile peace among India's many religious, ethnic, and caste groups.
I mean, when you're telling a joke, the most important thing, I guess, that you have to learn is it funny? You know, and if it's funny, of course it's going to offend somebody.
But in the past year, independent filmmakers and stand-up comedians have begun to satirize the country's fast-changing society.
Soundcheck.
The movie People Live ridiculed sensational TV network coverage of farmer suicides. And There Bin Laden uses the terrorists as a comic prop. Both have found big audiences here.
I really think that what's happening in a country, the quicker starts to change, there's more to talk about. So India's kind of seeing that right now. I mean, you wouldn't recognize Delhi from 4 years ago if you saw it today. There's that much changing, and so there's that much more option for satire.
India has a long tradition of humor in languages like Hindi and Urdu, but the growth of comedy in English is responding to a new generation of Indians with more disposable income and a more adventurous sense of humor. These comedy audiences have made Veer Das a household name.
They always pick the oldest teachers in the world to teach you about sex, right? The oldest man in the world would teach the guys about sex. A man who is so old, the last time he had sex, they probably did it to keep warm because man hadn't discovered fire yet.
If you say that Indians don't have a sense of humor, I think it's a complete cop-out. You know, clubs and the amount of comedy that is happening wouldn't be if we weren't that kind of an audience.
Tonight's show will begin in 1 minute.
Across India, stand-up comedy is flowering in nightclubs and restaurants. The Comedy Store, in particular, appeals to the richest members of Indian society, rather than its masses. The shows are always in English, with ticket prices of 700 rupees, or about $15.
I think people are willing to consider comedy as an alternative to a movie, or an alternative to a play, or alternative to drinks at a bar.
I love songs. But you know the problem is I can't sing, so I just speak them to women. But did you know that when you do that, they just sound really creepy? I'll show you. Every breath you take, every move you make.
Despite India's notorious cultural conservatism, this crowd at the Comedy Store is not above laughing at crude language. On this night, Veer Das performed The Penis Prophecies, a take on the vagina monologues with 4 other comedians.
My penis is like a flower. It's long, tender, and when you give this to your girlfriend on your anniversary, she thinks you're cheap.
I always get accused of doing a lot of sex, and I get accused of being very, very edgy and very vulgar, etc. But the nice thing is I never get accused of being unintelligent. They'll do the sex, you know what I mean? They'll take the religious humor, they'll take the political humor, but it has to be within the bounds of that intelligence. My style right now is very relevant to Indians. It is very sort of addressing the audience.
Though the Indian comedy scene is growing, Das has even higher hopes for the future.
I'm hugely optimistic. And I see clubs like this springing up all over the country. I see comedians' incomes going up. I see it becoming a more viable career option as well. And I think Indian originated in India with our flavor comedy is now going to head out of India and to the West. And I think that'll be kind of good as well.
You're a girl.
But success is elusive for comics everywhere.
I've brought cash.
And so, emerging comic Anubhav Paul hasn't given up his day job in finance yet.
You've been fantastic. Thank you very much.